Yeah.
And do you have to have a little chat with yourself if somebody leaves and stuff like that?
A little chat.
Yeah.
Oh man, like there's no joking. Like that's heartbreak. Like that's heartbreak. In because again, as I say, you have to be invested in it. Like it's not just going up right for matches. You're not. It's about developing the person and bringing them on. Like you are making that child or whatever to be as brave as they can be.
Like you have to care about.
And do you?
To everything from nothing, the greatest show in the universe, Stevie has decided to call it. We were saying it would just be the best show in Ireland, but Stevie says it's the greatest show in the uniose. So,
did you say that, Stevie?
No, I didn't know.
Okay, someone did.
It's all lies. They're not even square.
We're back. It's the first episode back in a while. Our last episode was called the final episode. We lied. And so we're back. And we're joined this week by Morgan Lanigan, who is my ex-GA coach from a good few years ago, I think. I can't remember. But yeah.
So Morgan, was he troublesome, was he?
He's lucky enough it's that long ago, I can't remember.
He told us he was right good though, so was he?
He was fast. He was probably like a lot of people might say nowadays he's hard to get a pin on, like, you know, probably hard to tackle, like, so.
What is that? I don't talk about that, like because you're interesting. Because I remember you were in your band Junkyard, which are you still? Is that thing still?
The lads are still going.
Okay, different.
Looks like Eve. Sorry, looks like Eve.
Yeah. Which you can get into that as well. But I thought it was fascinating that because you know there's 2 out of 3 of you were in the band, the metal band, all original metal, who were GA coaches, and it's very rare you ever come across lads who are like metalheads, but like really
you probably
into GA.
expect the acoustic and Raglan Road and stuff like that, but music and Thurles, we all know, and the GA, like those 3 things are, you know, they're intertwined big time. And not only in Thurles but obviously across Ireland. And further.
It does feel like it would be a bit in Thurles more, because I suppose you have even the Féile going on in the Semple Stadium. There's all these like links with rock and GA in Thurles for a long time, like, so it's not too out of the ordinary, I suppose.
No, well, we'd have grown up, like, we'd have been teenagers, turning teenagers as Féile and sort of self-view, you know, like, we'd have been watching it going like, okay, what's this going on, like, you know. Probably later on in life I could understand why some people wanted to stop it as you kind of sped up your understanding of what the world had to offer. When you were, you know, 14, 15, let's see this weekend of craziness. But look, music it was in my family as well anyway, and I came to music before the boys, and Davy Dunn then, sure, he came back to Thurles via America, and he got into his punk over there, and he'd have probably got the metal side of things going, and got myself and James Phelan into the band, and we went from there. We used to actually use Kicking Park as our practice venue, in
the changing rooms or whatever.
Changing rooms, yeah. So
that's right, good.
Because you'd have some evenings, you'd have people outside training, and we'd be inside. That's right. Making noise, enjoying this.
And do you still play? Do you still train and stuff with Thurles Guild?
I'm still training, Like, I mean, I don't think there'll ever be a time where I'll not be involved, because training GEA training and being involved with people has made me the person who I am, because I started out thinking I was helping out, like, I'll help out that, you know, and because I was still involved and still hurling. But over the years, it has definitely made me who I am, because I've learned so much, even in terms of my outlook in life, because when you're with kids, you have to be positive with them the whole time. And you're like, you're reinforcing them, and no, in the back of my head I'd be going like, oh Jesus, what or not in here, or or that chaise that we don't. But like, to them it's everything, and you're positive, and that's ended up working out, being my outlook, like across the board and things, like positive. That's and really like cool. Hey, sure, look, why not? Why can't it be me? Why can't it be us? Like, this is your time, this is our town, that kind of thing. Like, instead of the natural Irish kind of outlook, like, somebody rich is going as, that's the easy way to go about it, like, so.
Definitely. And do you know I noticed as well though, like you were, I'm not going to say, right, there was a team in town before I joined Thurles Scales from another team, and there was totally different buzz off the coaches with yourselves, like, I don't know if you were training time, but even whoever, like all the trainers, because when it was originally KRF when it first joined
Kickham's Rahelty Friendlies,
and I remember joining it from the inception. Like I went straight from the other team. I was like out here because I loved the crack that was up there. It wasn't taken as serious, yet you were winning everything. At the stage.
There's because I've been involved as well in the GA as an officer mid Tipperary, Borden and Oaks, as a PRO. So I've gotten to see the broader side of things. Like every club has its own kind of
way.
Not so much its way, but what we need to be doing. So where do we need to be at, as I would say, as an approach, how's our approach? So Thurles Oak, you didn't mention them, but there's no point in not mentioning them. Their approach is they have to be winning titles, like, cause look, they're the leader within Tipperary, so there's a different pressure then on them whereas we're trying to establish ourselves. So we have to be more
inviting.
Well, not more. From our point of view, we have to be more inviting. We have to be more easy going. We're probably getting kids not from a GAA background, so we're introducing them to all that. And like every club has its difference. Like, one club is trying to make one team, another club is trying to make two teams and win titles. Another club is trying to, win that one title in the B or whatever. Every club has its issues, and
that's true. Because Thurles Oak did manage that, probably down to that is why they kept winning stuff. Like, and it's probably, for why. What I thought was really interesting though is the people. I remember all the original people who joined Thurles Scales. Not many of them were actually hurlers. It was a lot of like the Pig Villa heads, and a lot of soccer heads, which I thought was really cool, because there was a stage for years where Thurles Scales were winning lots when it came to like Gaelic and stuff, thanks to that, which was really unique. And I loved that. Like, there was a different buzz, like, between I don't know. It just felt like good crack. It was,
and that goes back to, as I was saying, the family traditions probably wouldn't have been based on GAA, but
that's true.
Like, tradition starts somewhere, like, you know what I mean? Like, sure, exactly, like, you would say in 2 generations' time that, that family are involved in the hurling or the football.
Now, you would have probably been in Thurles Oak when around my time, when we used to be in the yard in Scolalva. Do you remember that? On a Saturday morning. But you remember Saturday mornings and when Thurles Oak used to run from the Scolalva yard? Did you do
training now there? I was in Thurles Oak up to under 14. It's the whole other story. I got suspended for being a year over age. We got into the County Féile final, and I didn't hurl then for 10 years afterwards. But I was like, sure, I lived in the side Semple Stadium. Hurling football, that was it, like, and well, Thurles Town were there. We played soccer up there, but hurling and football was, that was our everything, And of course, you can see from the great hurlers that came from that area. Even go back to the Fenleys before them, the serious hurlers that came from the Saints Road, as Born and Ave is known. Like, they were part involved as well when Thurles Oak was started in 79. But, it's a big town we live in now. It's got a widespread diaspora that's brilliant, that's different people from different ethnicities. Like, it's amazing to see where the town will be in 20 years' time and that kind of thing. But there's definitely room for that second juvenile club in Thurles, and that's why it's easy for us to put the work in. Like, we're getting the good numbers, and as you say there, we're winning titles, and not every year, but like, there's very few clubs that do. But we're breaking new ground, and that's that to me is what's very interesting. And that to me is what motivates me is this hasn't been done before. You know yourself, like what you're doing here, this hasn't been done before. Or your festival that you got going, that hasn't been done before. That's exciting and motivating,
Fun,
you know. And you have to be brave to do it. You need to have brave people with you on board, because there will be times where, like, you know, we've had people leave us and move to another club. And that's very hard, because when you're coaching kids, or when you're doing more than just turning up and opening the gates, you're invested in them. Like, you know yourself, if you want to do anything as an adult, we'll say, be it a sport or that, or down to a gym or get a personal trainer, you're paying them big money to give you something that you can't get anywhere else. Like, we as adults, we're providing that for those kids now to pay their membership. But you're putting your heart and soul into that, and then people then for reasons I don't know, they just decide.
I can't remember. There's this Clint Eastwood movie, Clint Eastwood and Morgan Freeman. It was some based on true story, a boxing movie, and Clint Eastwood was playing the guy in this rundown gym, and he was one of the best trainers ever. He just couldn't bring in any money, but one of the best boxers ever. And he trained up these guys in this rundown gym, bring them off the streets, train them up. Then they get good enough and they'd move on, and it would break his heart every time. Like, and that's a tricky thing, because you take him off the streets, or you take him in from having nothing into a group. You invest.
Well, it's that investing in the person, regardless of their background or where they've come from. You've given over, and to be doing it right, you have to commit. You have to go all in. So what happens then when them people leave? Do you go within yourself as a person and not be the coach, or are you, as you know, just in a personal situation? Are you holding back, or are you not committed? You can't. You can't. Like, you've to learn. You sharpen your tools, and you go, right, well, maybe we could have done this better, and you are a better coach for it. And then the next group, you're always committed. Like, otherwise, you just got to get out of it. You know, like that man, he couldn't have stayed going at it if he wasn't fully committed, like in his role.
And do you have to have a little chat with yourself if somebody leaves and stuff like that?
Oh, a little chat. Oh man, but like there's no joking. Like, that's heartbreak. Like, that's heartbreak. In because again, as I say, you have to be invested in it. Like, it's not just going up right for matches. You're not. It's about developing the person and bringing them on. Like, you are making that child or whatever to be as brave as they can be.
Like, you have to care about them.
And do you actually get kind of some sort of feedback why they left or whatever? No.
You don't.
Can you work it out?
Not all the time. We'll say if there was 10 people left, I'd say one person out of 10 has ever bothered to approach me personally. Would say. But look, that's more how people deal in life. You know, I wouldn't see that as a way to go about things. But it certainly doesn't stop us then as a club from opening up and going again, you know, because we're back again. We've got great numbers, and it's good for the town, like, because we all know ourselves. The more that's there offered for people coming through nowadays, you know, whatever they be calling themselves, boy, girl, or whatever it is coming through, we have to offer them as much as we can. Like,
that's
tough motherfucker out there.
And the train is all volunteer, is it? Like,
of course it is.
And how, like, that's I just think that's so interesting. Like, it's one of my favorite parts about all that. It's one of my favorite things about, like, Ireland is the amount of volunteer groups and stuff like that for stuff like that, specifically with kids when it comes to sports clubs and all that, because the knock-on effect, like, I would accredit, like, I was always really shy even until, like, it was until, I don't know, like 17 I started to break out of that a bit. But if I was to go back and see what I counted that for, it would have feeling accepted into clubs and sports groups like that, and feeling part of something, feeling welcomed, to eventually be able to look at that and be like, oh, I was involved with that, so now I do have confidence, I was accepted in something. And like, if that didn't exist, I don't know what this country would be like, genuinely. And how, like, so it's really cool that people like yourself volunteer to do that.
True.
Well, that's what sports club do, and you can see. You can see in the Thurles, like, I mean, the variety of it, between the boys doing their kickboxing or K1 or whatever it is, the rugby club, the soccer clubs, you know, all these different, like, I'm wearing today my badminton club top.
I was going to ask about that. Is that
we were in the All Irelands this year, started the club up in 2017. And
what's the name? So this is the badminton club.
Thurles Badminton Club.
Okay, cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's only new. Well, it's very new, But
yeah.
A lot of kids in there that wouldn't play any other sport, but here they're, And this is what you were saying. To be somewhere and to be practicing a skill or whatever it is, or whatever sport it is, and performing it and improving it, that builds confidence. And that builds your confidence in the rest of your life. As you say, you call it that. You go around and look, some might say some sports players go around with a bit too much. But it's better to have too much confidence than none, and that's what sport does, or being involved in these situations, because it helps you become a better person, gives you those friend base, that you can work off outside of your school or whatever. And it's a big thing in sport. Like, it's confidence,
definitely.
How did you get so confident, you reckon?
I can guarantee it is. It's true sport, and it was a long process for me. Because I would have, like I said, I didn't play hurling for 10 years. Like, I went down a very different road to the road that I'm on now. A very different road. And I sought out my confidence through other means. We'll say socialising, and we all know what socialising means. When you're on the wrong road, because you get that confidence from your drinking and fucking whatnot. And then, but it's false. Like, let's not fool ourselves. It's all false.
Because when everyone's gone home, you can hear the false. There's this emptiness. It's like, it's false. It's empty, and it's
Monday morning, sure, it's all gone. Like, or even Sunday night on the way home, the dread is already hitting you. It's like, oh wow, I'm going to miss work already again, so there's another job gone. But things like that, and we get that confidence from that. Now, some people are great at it; they're able to just sail through it all, and I admire all those. But again, it was true to sport, and even it took me a long time to gain my confidence. I was only doing, when I started out coaching, I was only doing what I knew. I didn't know why I was doing it. I realised at a later stage that it was down to adults letting me down in my childhood, or we'll say adult age, coming through, that in the back of my head, I was like, I'm never leaving these kids down. So
that's cool.
I'd never miss a training session. Brilliant. So the one thing is to make sure you're there anyway for starters. So you were always there and try as best you can to be on time. And then I grew confidence from that. Then I could start to see around me. I was able to see the people, see the kids for what they are, and try and develop just the child, the person, whatever the skill. The skill will come to get them confident to go, right, I'm going to commit to this and give it everything I have. That's...
Because that nearly comes first before you could develop. If you wanted to develop the skill, like, you probably do need to develop the confidence in them so that they can feel like they can develop the skill. I think that's definitely more important.
But they do. Like, they look around and they judge themselves. They will look, say, to the rise in the ball drill, and they look around and go, all right, I'm not really great at this. And you can see them, their shoulders are coming in. You can see that they're not moving as quickly as they normally would, or whatever, or it's pucking the ball. Then all of a sudden, it's affecting the rest of it. They won't want to do this drill to be, let's play a match, because they know the safety of the game, I can run around and I can get lost in the game, but it's that confidence, and if you can catch them young, then and they just power on and they'll grow.
It's funny, I don't know why I just had a flashback there I was like, I had this thing when I used to, like, in Cabra, I used to love, that was my favourite place. I used to play in school or up at the club, or then at home. At home was my favourite place to play, because that's where I felt like I performed the best, even if it was just pucking the ball off the wall. And I would used to be able to impress myself, but the second I was around like that, I just think back. It reminds me of like what I'd imagine stage fright is like, when you got on stage and you're like, because whenever a match would go on, I just couldn't get that out of me, and I used to even at young age be aware of it. Like it was like this weird thing, but like that confidence is so important.
And that's the repetition of games and being in that scenario, because I can tell you, there's a neighbour of mine, and when the Fenleys won the county final in 2003, he'd have been one of the main players, but the morning of the games, he was getting sick, like every game. And it just be that's the stage fright, that's the anticipation. But But also in that's the excitement.
Yeah.
That's
Part
what
of it.
sport
Brings it on,
or musicians that perform, because there's very little difference between a musician or performer and a sports player. Like obviously you're not getting tackled above on stage, or if you're a musician.
You are if you're Chris Rock, maybe.
But it's that same thing. It's that like, wow, this can go so totally wrong, but it could actually be so brilliant as well. I could actually be the hero of the day, or I could get, the crowd could be on his feet, not wanting us to leave the stage. Or not that ever happened to us, but it's that's sort of life as well. It's exciting. Money doesn't. There's no money doesn't come into that.
I know. And what about like, say for instance, people who are shit at it? Like I would have been shit at hurling or whatever. And you get the thing.
Well, you said that, okay? I didn't say that. No, there'd be other people to verify that. But like, so you kind of notice your shit, right, or whatever. You're just not good at it at the minute, and so you kind of pull back from it. You know what I mean? And you don't want to get involved or whatever. Well, you're not involved. But you see that, but that's where the coaching side really comes into it, kind of. That's where the coach should be kind of, and he should notice, he or she, the coach should notice, and be able to point out to you what it is you're good at.
That's it.
And because we're all good at something. Like at the end of the day, like hurling and football isn't. It's very skillful, but there's a job there that everybody could do. Like you could always tell your cornerback, or you're like, hey, look, there's a position for you. There's a cornerback there. You go in, you give him hell of it, or
I know.
You tell him that like you're fast. Now don't stop running for me, or you're strong. Like we're going to puck that ball high down on top of you. You keep battling for that. And like. Look, you're not going to keep everybody on board,
of course,
but you try and make sure that child that person is given their everything. Like that they've left that conversation going, right, you know what was I thinking about before? And right, let's get out of my way. I want to get at that ball, and it's to kind of, again, fake it till you make it kind of thing. Like, keep them going, and then before they know it, then they're up to speed, they're fit, they're fast, they're strong, and then they're offering an option. Because look, we're not all made to cut the grass, as a fellow once said to me before, or we're not all made to be the star. But it's a team game, like, like it's you need 1 to 30 nowadays to play a game. So it is.
I love, for instance, I love surfing now, because it didn't matter if you were shit, so because it was just you and the board.
So you see, he's always going to chuck you back out. Anyway,
so you kept going over and over again. Eventually, you get good at it, or whatever. But or same, I go up to Tommy in the CrossFit thing, and it didn't matter if you were shit. But
that to me says then that you like that personal kind of thing. Then and you're just pushing yourself. So because. You're going, right, well, I know, and you're determined on your own. Like,
well, you don't have the feeling you're holding anyone up. Like, I
didn't want to say it. You feel like you're letting anybody down.
That's it. Exactly.
That's what I would have kind of got from the couple of things you said there. That and that frees you up then, like, and
then you actually get confident, and then you get better, and and then you realize, shit, sure, I could have been doing this.
You could have, and you could have, and. And that is the big inhibitor as well, like that when you have kids there that they are conscious of the team around them, like there will be a certain stage that they will just literally flake around. They don't even, just tell them at the end, day one, they could have got hammered. They might kind of look at you, but they don't care, they're playing the game. Then about 9, 10, maybe 8, you start to kind of go, here looking around, right? I want to be on, maybe even younger, 7. I want to be on John's team.
Lovely.
I want to be on Dahi's team, because Dahi's the main man. Like,
start figuring it out.
His team usually wins, so they don't care whether they can hurt or not. I want to be on Dahi's team, and that's it. We need to have 2 teams.
Wow.
I definitely think like a huge part of making sure people stay with it as well is like making sure people kind of get the opportunity to play. Because I think that's part of the reason why I didn't stick with GA, which is kind of like. I would have been in primary school and like, I'd be in 6th class and there'd be lads in like 3rd or 4th class making the team ahead of me. And it's hard to get beyond that. I remember going to a blitz with drum, and I turned up to play under 12s for drum. And I ended up playing under 8 for the other team. Just for the record,
we'll say that it's probably all schools back in the time.
I'm not slating drum at all. Like, there was lots
of different.
There was lots of great people there.
Only recently, like since
I just remember that stuck out to me the time where I turned up to play under 12s, and I ended up playing under 8s for the other team because I was short enough, and I just kind of that kind of. Stuck with me. It's like
it's literally stuck with you. Like that's your recollection of GAA back in, and that's that's what you have to try and avoid. And the school is a big place. And look, I worked for about 5 years going around to schools between going in town, and then I worked with McCarthy Burris, thanks to Mary Shelley, and Mine Temple Toohey. So I went to all them different parish schools. So you got a fair feel for what you were doing. And I have to say, in my time that was there, it was always try to avoid that situation.
Yeah.
That's what you don't want. Like when you're inside the school, you're trying to make sure that player will even think about going down to the club. But in that situation, you're not going to go down here. No. Let me take me down to the rugby. This is a great crack, you know. I want to play with the under-8s again. You know, but things have moved on a lot. Like, that's not to say it doesn't still happen. Sadly, it does. But you know, there's a lot more games now. People are more conscious of it. In the main, you still have people who
want to win
all, like, you know, and that's why referees get bollocked out of it. That's why there's furor inside in clubs everywhere up and down the bread of the country, because you'll have one coach that'll want to do it all, and then you'll have the other people more enlightened as to the longer view. You know, because the longer view is that they remain playing the sport, you know, or involved in the club.
I remember, like, it was like, so it was physical education. So, like, we didn't get any physical education. We got, like, he's good at hurling, let him play hurling. You guys just keep out of the way, please.
Do your work.
Well, look, and that was it, you know.
And they could have even talked to us and said, look, this is the way.
No, but to be fair to them again, we're talking about the 80s. We're talking, you know.
They had the clue.
One of the, I won't say, I was in 3 different schools in the space of 2 years, but one of the it was a directing, like, it's true about the whole thing. I think that I was only saying this morning, I think this has changed as well. Like, if you played hurling, you got away with murder in school. Like to the extent of a teacher, I refused to play hurling, but they wanted me to, because in this school they needed hurlers. But yeah, and I remember the teacher actually saying that I wouldn't have to do homework if I just played. Didn't even have to do training, just go to the matches and play for them. And that was, like, to the extent of it. Like, where that's not rumours when you hear, like, about, like, hurling schools where people who played hurling didn't get in trouble for not doing their homework and stuff like that. It was very bizarre, like. But that's the same thing. That's
like, I mean, if we were in America and you were the American footballer, if we were in soccer, you were the soccer player,
that's true.
Or if you were in New Zealand or whatever, just to give the examples, that's their national
That's actually
sport,
really true.
And it's that urge to try and hear, well, look, we need to matter, like, you know, and if we're winning, if we're performing in our national sport, like, which is
I guess, even in America, they're a lot more open about, like, they'll give you a scholarship. Like, if you're American football, you get everything for free. Like, and that's kind of, at least, I suppose, that's true all over the world.
In Mississippi State University, the highest paid person on the campus was the coach. Not the head of school.
Not the principal, not the...
That's mad.
But then again, that's probably where a lot of the funding comes.
Yeah, of course it does,
I'll sign this big check. You make sure to get the good players in. Whatever about your science, there's a few bob for that.
And all the past pupils want them to win, like, so, and they're all loaded.
And it's a massive share. It's a nearly bigger industry than the NFL, will say, in terms of supporter bases. All the big stadia that they go to are all college stadiums, like,
and
a lot of them. So
you're not allowed to pay the players, but they seem to be driving Ferraris and stuff like that.
That just ends up in their park or their driveway, and they wake up some morning, like, with keys and all, like. So
what do you think? Your opinion? Do you think that should be? Part of me kind of likes that and respects the work that goes into that, because I think the work that goes into sports is often underappreciated, as if people treat it like it's a hobby, and it is to some people, but, like, the amount of work that goes into becoming a professional in a sport or mastering a sport isn't a hobby to me. That's, like, you know, a constant training, diet and all that. And what do you think about, like, hurlers? Like, do you feel like the pay thing makes sense?
You think about it and you can look at it and say, right, they should be making money for the work that they put in. The effort is
insane.
Like, if you were to track the timeline of a player who performs at the top level, and we're talking about, as you were saying, your schools, and then outside the school, the club, and then he might be playing for 2 teams in his club in a 1 year. So then you add the school, he could be playing for 2 teams, we'll say, inside in his school. So he could be playing 4 teams there. Then he gets to another age, then he's on the county panel. And he might actually be, the same lads are probably good at other sports, so he might be dabbling in a bit of soccer or whatever, if his rugby is his thing. And so then they're playing and training and going probably 6-7 nights a week. Now, to anybody who says that doesn't deserve money, you'd be silly to say they don't deserve money. But then you have to look at the logistic side of it.
Yeah.
How do you work this then? Do you make it a franchise? Do you have your scholarships like the American football where they go into their CBSs and then they're sent off to different, or they go to their third level schools and then they're sent somewhere. It's
hard.
It's hard, but there's not to say that players don't get the kudos for it, and that's very little when it isn't going your way. But again, it's like anything. If there was no money in the world, would they not be doing it because there isn't the hope of getting money, or would they stop doing it? Yeah, it's your passion. And if you're at the top of it, my God, sure, where else would you want to be?
I think one of the things I always think of with the idea of money is do you know the way in GA, a big thing is the pride of where you're from. You're playing for your parish, you're representing your parish. Whereas I feel if they brought money into it and the whole thing of transfers and stuff, if some other club could offer you more, the whole pride of parish thing could be diminished a bit.
It would.
But I still think there should be some compensation.
But then it would just come down to money then. Then we're talking about the big, they will always say. Now let's go down this road now and let's give the clubs are allowed to get their own funding or whatever.
Yeah.
Sure, the big towns, the big areas where the big businesses
they'll win.
We'll say
would win, yeah.
Look at the H&MV there now. They're a massive company now. They've come if they were to pump their money, and just using them as an example because they're out in McCarthy, if they were to pump money into McCarthy Burris, and then there was other clubs that couldn't,
That's kind of like what soccer, when Manchester City came along and all these investors, if someone decided tomorrow, Blackpool in England, who are in what division, I don't know, Blackpool, if someone from Saudi Arabia came over, gave them billions, then they would be one of the best clubs in a few years.
So it's not about talent, it's
that's
about
true.
money.
True, yeah.
So they were started by parishes, weren't they? Man United and all that by priests.
Industries, factories, wasn't it? So that used to,
the dock workers are going up against the fucking coal workers, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they started out.
I think you're right. It's a balance. It's a weird thing. It's a tricky one. And I've heard that hurlers say that as well for the same reason why, big hurlers saying that's why they don't. There's parts of them that they actually don't want to get paid for. It seems to be. Yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting to hear more.
They're successful, driven people. Yeah. You don't make it to the top of your game unless you're driven and determined, and that will apply to the rest of their life as well. And now they obviously get to take it. Their careers have to take a kind of a backseat because they're so driven in terms of their sport. But when they do apply it to the rest of their lives, a lot of the times they are a success, and you will see that these people have a success in their lives because of that determination and drive. So It's true, money isn't the be all.
Yeah, I definitely agree with it. The only thing I feel bad for is I feel there's this whole it's this weird thing of money follows fame. So if you see a famous celebrity athlete anywhere in the world, they're guaranteed to have that level of security and stuff. But I kind of wonder, is there's this pressure on a lot of them to, I don't know, nearly be these I don't know, these nearly seen as celebrity figures, and they're getting all these pats on the back, and a lot of them are struggling then and stuff, or might find it hard because I know all of them have the drive to also be in their few hours they're not hurling to be running a business and stuff like that. There's a cat coming up to the window.
I know.
So I don't know. Yeah,
he's a heavy metal fan.
I feel it's nearly every second person. It'd be interesting. What I'd never hear on this topic a lot is. I'd love to know the opinion of all the hurlers, all the, 30, however many players of each team in the country, to get what they think and stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, I think that's who it's sort of up to. But I don't know.
Yeah, they do. Look, the GP, the GPA, the Gaelic Players Association. Now they're supposed to be surveying their players, and they do get mileage. There is a certain mileage, and look. They're well looked after. I'm not saying they're getting more than enough. Yeah. But they get their meals and that, and they're rightly treated and should be treated within their counties with respect. Yeah. Win or lose, they're not a scapegoat for things going on. At the end of the day, this is just sport. Things things go wrong. You don't win. Everything doesn't win in the sport. Like, but unfortunately, they are.
Isn't it hard? Like the criticism that they're open to, like, they're doing their best. They've put in so much time and effort and sacrifice, and then you get ate like by some lad in the pub or something.
The hurler in the ditch. You know, and that's just a phrase now, not the person online. But yes, like sport. Look, people. Just there's nothing better, is there? Like it's either a win, you're either up in the clouds on a high, or it is down in the dumps. And look at the state of it. What's going on? You're doing everything wrong. You can't.
I love driving around Thurles at half time in a tip match or something like that, and seeing the lads coming out the door of the pub puffing a fag. Yeah, puffing a fag like as if they've played the first half. And they're going back in for the second half, and they're out of breath, and they're worn out.
That's class.
Yeah, they really probably climb the stairs as well.
Exactly. I love it.
Like, hey, but that's but then again, that's their investment. Like they're punters. You know, without this, like that kind of.
Hey, we're all doing it. We're all watching, and we're all thinking we're playing. Like, don't we?
Sure. Like,
be wrecked watching.
There's no better sport to be playing, like than hurling, or even imagine playing. Like, we all want to catch that ball out of the sky and put it over the bar. But look, hey, it's a serious national pastime. It's brilliant for the country, the kids. It is. Like, you know, there's always stats put out as percentages of drop-off rate. You're going to always have that. All you can do is try.
Do you have any? What roughly? Do you know?
Oh, I'd say it's up 40%. I'd say no. Look, I'm only. I didn't do any research, but I know it is high. In other places, it'll be even higher than that.
Okay.
Very high, but look, you have to have your ducks in a line. You have to realise what you're doing when you're coaching kids, why you're doing it, and what's the end goal. The end goal is to make that child as confident as they can be, to attack the skills and to perform to the best that they can. And that also will develop the rest of their lives. And hopefully then we have a better person going through the town, wherever they are, wherever they go in their life, you know. Hopefully it's hurling within the club or playing football within the club. But that's GAA, that's sport.
To change, similar, just what you're saying reminds me of, like, there's also, like, it's funny, like, now I realise why you were on to me a few weeks back twice, but I've just been busy, so I will sort it out. But with the Mill Road lads, they're another. They're young. They're a band in Thurles. We've had them on the podcast before and stuff. But like, is it for the same reason that because you're trying to get them gigs, and like you're trying to tell, like, push them a bit? Like, is that for a similar reason, do you think? For me, it's something that I haven't done anyway. Yeah. But I've been at so many lads' gigs. I'd say there's many I haven't been, because they play the festivals and that that I'd be going to, and I'd be there talking to people in there. We know they've some man, they could fucking really make it. Really could. Like,
you know, like they're writing, the level that they're writing is like, it blows my mind, because I've tried to write songs and it's so difficult for starters. But at the young age that they're doing it, you know. Yeah. Like, I was at their first gig when they played the cover tunes, and we were going like, whoa, they are playing a really good slant on these cover tunes from the 60s and the 70s. And I was going, wow, because the two girls are just serious performers. James is a real front man and a leader, and he takes that pressure off the rest of the band as well. And he has a key role to be playing. And I know Callum has come in now on the electric guitar. Yeah. And he's only going to flourish. Like, Callum has been playing guitar for years or so, I found out, because he would have actually been involved in the club as well as James Butler would have been. But I found out then that Callum, I seen him in the stage, they were playing in the Source, and I went in along and I went, hey, I said, that's a different guitarist. I said, what's going on there? And then I looked and I said, that's Callum. Like, you know somebody, you're going, right, that's completely left field. Yeah. But then, so I was talking to the girls after they played in Hickey's, which is absolutely phenomenal venue nowadays. Yeah. And I said, well, what gigs have you got for the summer? And they were like, oh, I don't know. And I thought nothing of it. And I said, here in my head I was going, and I always like to have projects, something going on in my head that's what puts me to sleep at night. Same here, if I have something in my head that I can plot and plan away, if I don't, then the mind is wandering and going, here I could be stuck. Looking at the ceiling. But if I have something, I plot and plan away, and that actually eases me off to sleep.
That's class.
And then I started here, what can we do? And so I got contact with John Lawler above in Mrs. Crow. And as fortune favours the brave, there was somebody pulled out of the bank holiday Sunday. So I got back in contact with the girls. I said, what's the story? And then they were like, yeah, sure, we could be available. And then I kind of says, well, look, I'd be keen to do some looking for more gigs for ye. And it really excites me as to where they could go, and we'll try and get them anywhere we can and see what can be done.
You're not, like, the potential they have is insane. Like, the name, I remember, like, first contact with them was, like, we were doing the No Covers gig in the Source, and Brendan in the Source had taught me about them, whatever, but they didn't even have the name yet, and they had written, like, originals, because the whole concept was of that gig was that the bands that would be local bands who wouldn't do any covers, just all original music. And I was kind of like to Brendan, I was like, oh, so they don't even have a name. Are they going to have originals? Like, they had like a whole load of originals. And I was kind of like getting close to the thing. I was like, okay, we're going to be making the poster soon. Could you please send on your name? And I was like, that is it. Like, if you have originals written before they had decided their name fully, they probably had like speculated between different names, but they hadn't even confirmed what their name was going to be.
It's very hard, actually, because I know, like, when we were the band of myself, James and Davey, and we trying to get a name, like, it's just it's next to impossible. Like, you're putting them into these randomizers online, and then it was actually very similar to that gig coming up. Oh, here, look, we just a junkyard, and it was so close with. Oh, here, I haven't time to object. Junkyard you all have your own view on what it should be, and then you're kind of going, no, he wants it to be called that. Like, no, And so the name is probably the hardest thing, but like, look, the lads practice out in Mill Road. James is from there.
Like,
And look, they've grown from strength and grown, and they're actually working on new songs now at the moment as well.
That's class.
They're playing. Callum is doing his leaving cert, so he's involved with that. But the 25th of June, they're playing Hickeys. And so we'll hopefully kick off what'll be a few gigs around. We'll see, can we get them out of the 0504 area as well? And look, Thurles is great, and if there's any pubs out there that want to give him a gig, like, you can check it out, follow them up.
Definitely be really good to get them out of the town early, like, get that experience as well. Get that feedback outside of town. It's really important, because then you're getting it from people you don't know.
Oh yeah, that's
very powerful. Like,
you get more. You can be more confident.
Yeah.
Remember, we played a gig when we were about 16 or whatever down in Clonmel, and it was the biggest rush. We didn't care. We were jumping on tables and giving it, because you're never going to see these people again. You know what I mean?
Like, it's not like you're getting the applause out of sympathy. The first time I had played was at a 23rd birthday. That's how desperate they were for parties back in the early 90s. And the band was playing where we'd agreed that we could go up at half time between them. And the guitarist, anyway, Jay Giordani was playing guitar in the band. And he said, I'll do the lead solo. And he said, you wish to you can look just going around trying to get somebody. Like, so we're only playing Rockin' in the Free World.
I know, it was brilliant.
And the Watchtower, just bog standard.
Great crack.
And so we said, somebody said, go ask Gaga Fannin. I said, what, really? Like, Gaga Fannin? Do you think he'll do it? Yeah. Don't ask Gaga. Yes, he said yes. All right, that was it. Brilliant. I just stood like that, looking over at Gaga, trying to play the bass.
That's class.
What was it? Richie Ryan, anyway, was doing the vocals. He was insistent. Richie was very much inspired. Shout out to Richie there. Was inspired by Jim Morrison. So he was facing the back wall.
Lovely.
We're doing all around the Watchtower, Rocking in the Free World. But getting back to why I got to start this was all about, because everybody there knew us. So they were all on the highs, like, did he even listen to us? Like,
where were you, Mackie?
Turned around. No, it was in Millwright.
Oh, Millwright. That's what we. Same here.
And we were just I was going like, what? This is unreal. Like, this is
some crack.
Just got the adrenaline of people going, and I said, right, I'm having that, like, that buzz, like, it's fucking, so, and then I can imagine then if you get that, as you're saying, in a different place, you get people going,
you think you're a king,
it's like, wow, like, I don't want to
it feels, and it's not that anyone's being like dishonest, just something about it feels like another level of truthfulness, because it's basically, like, to sum it up, is like, I love when I get like a random comment or something, whatever I do, or make something online or in person, or a stranger comes up to you and says it. That's a really good feeling. But like, I'd still appreciate my mother saying something like, but if I ever did something bad, she's never going to come up and say, you're terrible. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, and then it gets like that with friends or people in your local community.
They're going to support you and you support them.
Because they like you, so they're never going to tell you it's bad. Like, so when you get...
my family would.
But I do definitely think the whole thing of like getting... like that kind of feedback somewhere else is mad though, because like like Small Fish, like we had a gig in Cork there a while ago, and I remember like we were in Crane Lane. I remember in the middle of the set at one stage, Tony just said to the crowd, "He's like, do you want to hear another cover? Or do you want to hear original?" And everyone just shouted back, "Original!"
Class.
And we were just like, kind of taken back by it, but like, Jesus, okay, great, yeah. So we just like kept just playing loads of original stuff for them, and they fucking loved the originals more. And I was like, to get that reaction in town is one thing because people know us, but like, jeez, I'd say there was probably less than 5 people who knew who the fuck we were.
Yeah, knew the songs. Like that's really cool. Look, that's what you want, like, and I must get that number for Crane Lane actually off you and singing down there. It's always in the game. But that reminds me of a meme. Breda showed me a little meme like things that give us the most joy in the world, and I think it was something meeting your partner and winning loads of money, or the next one which won the biggest in the graph was a random stranger complimenting your rock t-shirt, like that kind of random stranger just gives it that like that extra bit. Everything else just isn't the same.
Or something like when they come up and it's like you've so much more in common with that stranger that they like that band or something like that. It's really cool. Like it's cool that that's why I don't know. It's authentic that you're coming at it from the that's you doing it with the Mill Road lads, because it's like it seems like it's the same energy or the same reason why you're doing it with the sports, and it's just it's doing something, and it's helping people. But at the end of the day, it's there that are doing it, like, like. Yeah,
so
of course.
You're just trying to do a small bit. Like, I'm going to really enjoy this because they're super talented. To be anyway involved in this is good, because look, they're young as well, and they're busy between college and working and school. So any little bit that they can be helped with, no problem. The problem just to get Breda to stay at home, mind the child. So. That went so well.
And the thing about that is that I think it's needed. Like, I think there's, because like, I don't know, management and music, it's like you'll see it on higher levels, but I actually think it's needed more on small for bands starting off in local levels and stuff like that, because especially when they're that age, it's a similar like. What if everyone's parents, or if parents just sent all their kids up to Thurles Gales pitch, but there was no coaches, it's like, what would happen? Like, just like nothing. Like, it's like
nobody management.
They could do something. It's not that nothing would happen with bands. It's a bit different. Like, but I feel like it's good for like local bands to have that. Like for people like yourselves, or even anyone that has contacts with venues. And I don't know. I feel like. We talked about like creating like this collective, and we still could do it like between all of us, like loads of us, create a collective of musicians, and to like send out, say, have contacts to festivals and stuff like that, and even we could like to venues and like just send out like a list that's all these Thurles bands on this collective to these venues and stuff like that, and whoever they feel is suited, that they get onto them, like to just get a good few of the bands outside of Thurles.
Well, I think then is, well, you get back, like, I mean, you have your strings and things there, like, and they're doing Thurles the world of good, because like they're getting big gigs now, like, and rightly so. What a band they are after turning out to be. As I remembered playing their Fela, I think it was 5 years ago inside Hickey's. It was about 5 or 6 of us there on Saturday at a fucking 4 or 5. But to see where they have gone to, like, obviously America didn't do them any harm, like, playing 3-4 nights a week, but to have, if they could do it, or Mill Road could make it, or somebody break through that, like, because the talent is in the town, like, it's unreal, like, sure. Hey, and again, it goes back to kind of even the sport, like, are you going to do it because you're not making money, or are you going to stop doing it because you don't make it? No. But it would be better for Thurles if somebody could like make that breakthrough. And look, it's a fickle thing, like, like the markets are so niche nowadays. You could be very successful, and you could be in the bus with 10 people, 9 of them wouldn't, the other 9 wouldn't know who you are.
Some of the biggest, there's there's songs on the radio now that are top played and the people are making actually fuck all, like, because they just get out, they bust through it, like, and that's I don't know, the world is a bit finicky like that at the moment.
But there's great people like working like your festival, like, was a huge success, you know, and that's inspired, and I no doubt. The Philip Young that somebody in Melbourne probably inspired G, you know, gave he took that ball and ran with it. Like Jim Ryan has a festival going on. Yeah. You know, these are the boys, Sully again, or not Sully, sorry, Melvin and the boys are above in Lugnafulla.
Doing the sessions, brilliant.
Paul Burns and that, like Emma Langford is there the Friday coming. Like I just checked. I was actually checking, was it not Crane Lane or somewhere down in Cork, and she popped up in it, and it's nearly €20 for the ticket to see her below in Cork, and the lads are charging €15 to see her in the Monks.
That's
no
fab.
problem. I'll be there. Fast. I'll you know, but bringing that level of a talent to Thurles, you know, so that's. All these little things like that we're all doing, and you're all doing is building the profile, crazy. You know, organically, like, you know.
Yeah.
I think Thurles is built for it, like, with the square and the shape of the place. It's perfect, you know.
The venues, the understanding, and I think, like, a reason I think we're lucky with, like, the publicans, venue owners, like Brendan in the Source, these people who we need to help facilitate this sort of stuff, like have all connections with the Fela, and I felt like that primed this thing where they're okay with it. It's not like, oh God, these rocker kids are Satanists that they might think in Mullingar or something like that, you know. It's like everyone has a connections from the 90s with rock music and events, and it's primed for the town.
Try and get that connection back, like, you know, like, I mean, it's been done, like, but what else is bringing people to Thurles? You know, like, you know, there is very little, and it's kind of one of the downsides in the broader picture that there is no, and I know it's only recently opened up the tourist office, like, and more has to be done there in terms of that. And look, if it is the festival side of things, well, great. I'm sure who's going to complain as long as people are coming into the town. I think that's the big thing. Like,
that's what our belief is like, even I was talking to two other folks, like be well involved in the town and stuff, who were only saying, like, you know, the Thurles, they spent ages trying to make Thurles a heritage town, but it's not like the Rock Castle or Care, but like, which aligned we got into talking about, which is what we've always said, like with Crowhig in the podcast, is like, we really believe that Thurles' biggest industry could be media production, events, all that, you know, creativity, like, because and that's including events, and that's including the events that go on in the stadium, the one that's going to be on tomorrow, and the amount of money that'll bring into the town, and the fact that Electric Picnic brings in $1 million into Portlaoise every year, like that's, I really think Thurles' thing, it like, could be creativity.
We'll say there tomorrow as an example, like, why couldn't somebody, like, it's a bank holiday Monday, why couldn't there be a concert on somewhere? Like, you know, and have that advertising. Keep these people that are already going to be coming to the town.
Keep them here.
They'll be kind of going, like, hey, let's make a weekend out of it.
Exactly,
let's, like, stay there now. Look, there's another thing, infrastructure.
The accommodation is
stay. You know, but, like, the population of Thurles will double. What will the population of Thurles be tomorrow?
Yeah,
it's 15,000, so it's going to quadruple there tomorrow. Like, you know?
There'll be, I suppose, 60,000 is the stadium.
It'll be about 50,000, let's say, with regulations and
okay,
whatnot. You know, you're talking.
That's crazy, like.
You know, just that is a simple stat, because that could be done to take advantage, like, you know. It's like, I'm sure now I seen a great little video there from 1986, when did Sugar Factory close down?
I seen you shared that. I was already watching it. That's mad
little
video.
Corker of a video, we're announcing big things now, big announcements now. 10 million is going to be. We're not forgetting about the people at Thurles, like,
we never got it.
I can't remember his name. It was interviewed there. Well, we're 70% Fianna Fáil. And your man's a Fianna Fáil, and I know, well, we're not forgetting about you, like, you were good, so it's 10 million, like, I'd love to know where that 10 million went, you know, like, still yet to see it. Maybe that factory is still on the lines or whatever, like, you know, but we'll say industry like that isn't going to come to Thurles.
I agree.
Clonmel has that all sewn up, you know, and fair play to them.
They're fighting a nonsense battle, like, that's the thing. It's like, how do we go on and go forward and, like, stop, because, like, the town was great, and every conversation about Thurles is how good it used to be during the Sugar Factory times. It's like, how many, like, I wasn't alive during that, like, you know, it's like, that's how, like, and there's people a good bit older than me that weren't even alive during that, so it's like, why why are we still going the cycle of what was rather than like what we can do?
That's an Irish kind of trait as well. Then again, like that's like we were saying about their general demeanour will be one of pessimism, like of half glass full, instead of going like, oh look, sure, we'll just use an example, the Tipperary hurling team. Like, look, a lot of young lads are after getting blooded this year. Like, you know, they will improve. Like, they've already won things in their past. Let's not like throw the duck baby out with the bathwater. You know, like that's the positivity you need. Whereas, talk to 10 people, how many of them are going to be positive about where Tipperary are? You know, look, right here and now, obviously they're out of the championships, but it's that kind of mindset. But it's like, I definitely think that, you know, we'll say even in terms of that at this time of year, could a few different organisations in town come together and make themselves a place where school tours could be done? Like Thurles would be a very safe place for like schools could be dropped off and they could be nearly left to run around the fucking place, you know. You know, a few different places.
It's compact, it's good.
Done their own little thing. It's compact, it's handy, you know, if you're a swimming pool there or whatever. Something like that, you know. I remember,
I don't know, when I was about 13 or 14, I was about 10 or 11, there was a Chimsa or something on in Thurles, and it was before the Féile because I was impressed. I wouldn't have been impressed with it after the Féile. But it was literally schools dropped all their kids who had bands into Thurles, and it was in the presentation, I think the Ursuline, the Premier Hall, and it was a rock competition, but it was all Asquelga. So I remember seeing these young lads.
Memory.
Yeah, I seen these young lads on stage Tána Buckley or Ash Sawalia. And I was like, whoa, and to me this is like, I'd say I was 10 because I was 12 at the Féile.
I'd have been 11 by the time I worked out what they were saying.
But I was just thinking, this is amazing, and like just looking at the nuns and the priests watching on, and they were trying to give it all up. I think it was in the presentation stage.
Brilliant.
And they were in Slane as far as they were concerned.
Of course.
To me,
you're there in front of your peers, whatever about how well
and there were drums a full lot, and I just thinking I was so impressed with this.
That's class,
But things like that, we could get stuff like that back again, you know.
Things we could get back again, because another thing that I shared was the Tipperary Community Games, like.
Oh, brilliant,
Like we used to do that in Semple Stadium, and now most people don't even get to hurl up there. Like we used to race around there on the bikes. But that's good to see that's back again in Thurles. The Community Games, like that used to be a massive day, like, you know.
What was that the fun day?
And you get to go to Malney.
It was as good as a fun day, like, you know. Like you have to win when you're winning Thurles first, and then you go represent Thurles. And then you win your county. The McGinleys are doing great work there, Adrian McGinley. Actually, the McGinleys, just to give me a shout, Aisling is heavily involved with our club, and Lorraine is big involved in one of the basketball clubs. I better not try and guess it because I could get it wrong. But and Adrian is getting the athletics or the community games, like, you know. I'll go back then just because the people, again, you go back to all the different clubs, you have people and families within them clubs that are driving them on, like, you know, and they're not doing it for the pat on the back. They're a drive within them. All they need is people to be helping them out some way, and that will benefit the town. You know, if it's the rugby or the soccer, you know, all the taekwondo, boxing clubs, it's, anything at all, you know, because that all benefit people positive and full of energy and wanting to do things. You know, it is.
That's true.
Look, the town, I think there's so much potential, like, and that's
definitely, I think we're at the beginning of just something. Like everything about Thurles just feels like it's about to start, like, opening up, especially just the new square, the park, the source. Everything feels more integrated, even like on a like infrastructure level and just how it looks. And now you have just this, I don't know, between all of ourselves, like you've Melvin, all these people now who just are for reasons unselfish, just doing things, just to do things for no other reason, and like.
But you also need businesses to grow then as well, though.
For sure.
You know, like, I mean, like this gonna be fine and all that, and that. But who ends up at the end of the day? Like, I know we're talking about all the volunteers. Who ends up keeping these things going? The businesses.
True.
You know, like when we have to go looking for our fundraiser or €50, these businesses they understand, like, you know, and some of them are performing brilliantly, like, you know, and others, look, they'll give what they can. There's a few of you out there, like, you probably give a few more.
Definitely.
Like, you know, just pony up, like, we're all customers. But no, without them, like, you know, because there's, you know, it's like a fucking, it's like a blood system. The heartbeat is you could say it's the businesses, you could say it's the clubs, but we're all connected.
It's the one thing. And it's amazing.
They badly need to be kept going as well. And if they're driving on, the next thing is like, don't be assuming that everybody has to leave the town. Grand, just get out, Thurles, we can't keep losing the people. Like, why can't they have their life here? Why can't they set up a business here? Why can't that be?
That's why, like, we start like Croy grind thing wouldn't have existed. I just remember coming back. I was living in Atlow, and I think for a while, and I came back to Thurles, and my first thought was like, okay, where do I go next? How do I get out here next? Like, what's my next course I do, or just want to? And then it was that moment I promised myself. I just thought that was funny. I thought that, and I remember thinking I had the thought that there's a bizarre paradox or whatever, but like I'm not going to leave Thurles until I don't want to leave Thurles is my goal now. Like, so I'm going to live here, stuck here until I live in a place that's so fun where I'm not going to want to leave anyway. And it's slowly starting to become that, and it's fun and it's exciting. Like,
I remember being in Mississippi and chatting with someone and said, why'd you come here? Why here? What?
Yeah.
Like, we're all trying to get out of here.
And the roads were reversed.
But like somebody said to me in Plymouth, is, why are you living here when you could have gone somewhere else? And I was going, maybe that's true everywhere in the world.
It is,
everybody. And it's
hometown syndrome.
But it's that outlook in life, we're sick of it, but of course. But this is the thing. Then again, you see, because people they settle into this life and they're not willing to expand and what they've learned, or their circle of what they do. It is. Work, home, television, work down, right, we might catch a match. It's the same things, and sure, that's going to do.
I also, one of the things I think is the biggest reasons that causes that is that we don't feel like we can grow in the place that, like, I think we feel, I think there's a lot more judgment in hometowns, like there's a lot more, you better not get notions, you better not be doing podcasts, you better not be, No,
I have to, because you're after touching this, and this is something that I had in my head to say, because this is, yes, there will be, like, we might have spoke to somebody once, and they might have said something negative to us. But for the rest of our life, we'll carry that negative voice in our head. And we'll use their negative voice when we're trying to think of a project or trying to think, hey, I'll do something different. We give this voice. This somebody we have said something once
that's on us.
Years ago. We do that. And look, that's nature. Nature. Because sometimes that stops you from doing something really stupid. So you're going to have to listen to it as well. But we give. There's a great line in one of the Idol songs, and I can never think of the name of it. If someone talked to you the way you do to you, I'd punch their teeth through.
That's cool.
And if we heard our friends saying something, things that we said to themselves out loud, what are you doing? What are you saying, man? Don't be so stupid. But in our side, in
somebody
dialogue,
said to me, you got to beware of the loud minority. The loud minority. Somebody says, you're saying 1 out of 10 of your customers says that, and that's what you remember.
And
you're like,
and the other 9 might tell you
or
they
9
love
are
you,
happy.
You could take it as a learning thing, or as you can label amplify and stop you from performing. But you could go, well, look, I'm doing 9 out of 10 customers, all right. I wonder, could we adapt or change something for that one customer? But you're never going to get 10 out of 10. But it's that voice that stops us from, pushing on or giving that a go. Especially, and I've to come back to the badminton club. I met loads of people. I'll give that a go. Yeah. But I wonder, you said it 2 or 3 times. Well, why didn't they come down and give it a go? Is it just or is it just laziness? Could be goddamn laziness. But
where's the badminton club? Where is it?
We'd be in the Ursuline Hall. So we've 4 courts there. And the nuns have been very good to us. We can't thank them highly enough, because they've been looked after us at times when we wouldn't have enough to cover the hall. They've let it go, but thankfully enough now we have enough numbers coming in. We have a young group coming in, and we won the county title this year, went on and won the Munster title.
Wow.
And we should have won the fucking All-Ireland's, only a clerical issue stopped us. We did Luke Ahern as our captain, or our giant captain, with Victoria Lupton, who won all around her. Sean Kavanagh is on the team, and Rachel Sheedy. Then we have a few others, Ava Carr. I have to name them out because they're county and Munster champions. These are our subs. We had Ben O'Driscoll, and we had Corey O'Brien and Molly O'Brien. Like, we've got a young group, but they're dedicated. Like, they love it. Hey, and it's a brilliant sport to play. Yeah. But yeah, a lot of people have gotten involved, or they said they would give it a go and didn't bother. But to have something like badminton just go on inside Thurles, that's another. Another addition to the town, like that could be. Yeah. That's broadening the range of things that people have on offer. Like, oh, sure, there's nothing to do. Oh, sure, there's fucking nothing to do in down. No, there is. It's
there
just
is. Yeah.
You're just stuck in your little.
No, I think we're lucky in Thurles, more lucky than most towns.
100%.
We have. Yeah.
Well, we're small though, aren't we?
We are. Yeah.
You know, in terms of that can have its downfalls in terms of the little vices we listen to.
Yeah.
We give that section of people that we're not.
I think that's all on us though. Like, it's not on the people. Aren't really giving a shit what Hugh does a podcast or not. Most people don't think about
giving the face and everything and that person.
That's all in your own head.
My thing, what I think though is the problem is not. I don't think anyone think it's all like as you said. It's when you're younger. It's the boundaries. All barriers we have come before like we're like 13 or 14. It's those little things like, and that's why it's so important to have GA coaches that are saying nice things rather than
all coaches, all sports.
And anyone who's working with kids, teachers, and everything. Which I do think in a few generations to come, you'll see a lot less barriers because I think in general teachers, everyone's nicer now. But like. Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's like when for example, like that stuff, like anything like related to when I wasn't confident, when I was younger and stuff like that. It was like one of the hardest things. We talked to Kieran Shannon about this. He had to go to London, completely different person. I used to be good friends with him. Now he's like doing really good. He's over in Mexico with this contract now he has for fighting, and he said he wouldn't have been able to change if he didn't leave Thurles.
His mindset.
Because every time you see that person who said something bad to you, or every time you felt bad around him, that happened to me. Took me years to break out of that. I'm only breaking out of it now, to be honest. I still feel weird.
Happens to me after every night drinking.
Yeah.
It's complete wipe.
What am
I doing? Why? How do I go? Where do I start? What's tomorrow? Oh no, forget about it. Can we just cancel the rest of it?
Cancel life.
Put it off. Yeah, but that.
Go right back to it.
Yeah. And that's look, and that's the age-old battle. You see, it's great when your things are going all right for you. If you're going well in your job or whatever. But that's not going for everybody. No. And if the majority of us aren't pulling in the one direction, and willing to help out those who aren't. Like, your society is, you can't just scrub away and go, oh, well, here, forget about them. They live in our town.
Exactly.
We're all walking the same streets, like, we're all using the same amenities, churches, pubs, whatever it is, swimming pools. Everything. We all have to, you can't just turn a blind eye to it. And
we're all drinking negative. We are all drinking the same pool water. That brings us close together, like. We're all very close.
My daughter got sick in it there back a while ago, so it's probably cleaned out by now. Like, we're all one. I just have to say, actually, she took her first steps today anyway, Leila Marie.
That's really good.
Leila Marie, and her mammy is on her way to work now, heavily pregnant with a baby on the way in August. It was great. The two of us was there, like, so she's ripping and tearing, like.
That's cool.
It's grand. In a few more months, she'll be forgotten about, like. She better start doing cartwheels or something.
Sure. We'll finish up on that. Thanks a million for coming on. It was a really good episode. I really enjoyed that conversation.
Yeah, thank you. It was good.
And it's motivating. Yeah,
and thanks for coaching everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Everyone listening and everyone hears.
It's great. It's great being involved, helping people, being involved, and in any way involved in people's lives. And that's where I operate at. Like, I've worked in different jobs and just. It's not, they don't really, money or that does not motivate me at all. I would happily, I'd say your yoke, everything from nothing. That's probably where I'm at now. I literally, I couldn't really keep down a job for various reasons. I wasn't driving and things, but the coaching was always in the background. And that ended up being my whole life. And then I'm in a place where I never thought I could be.
That's class.
3, 4 years, 5 years, 7 years ago, so. From that, and like, it's just finding what you can do.
That's class.
Give you the confidence to be good.
Deadly.
That's really cool. Yeah, thanks everyone for watching as well on YouTube or listening on Spotify. If you want to subscribe to because you can, then you should. If you want to help support the podcast, donate. Are you hungry, Brendan? Brendan's not hungry, but he will be some stage. So if you want to support the podcast, you can donate by clicking the link below, or just subscribe and like. It's free.
Or put money in the letterbox.
Or put money in the letterbox. Yeah.
That would really surprise me if somebody put money in the letterbox to number 33 Match Avenue.
Yeah, I know. Thanks.
I'd be very impressed.
Even. And if you can't, just
only money, just money.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting anything else. I'm just saying just money.
If the subscribe button will do as well. If that's all you can do at the moment, that's fine. We appreciate everyone.
How much does it cost to press the subscribe button?
It's free. In fact, Hugh will pay you.
And we have paid people to
Special offer, free for the price of one.
Yeah. Thanks a million for everyone for watching, and on Thurles. See you next week. Bye. Oh, sound for that. That was alright.
Good. Thanks.
That was actually
I love the taste of strawberry medicine as it runs down my neck. I feel it draw me in, and when it settles on my mind, just know you'll find me there inside.